Here we are, Unit 3, Inequalities, Day 4, Verbal Phrases. First, we're going to talk about the differences between expressions, inequalities, and equations, because they're all different. So an expression, remember, and maybe it helps if you start with equations, because you all know very well that an equation has an equal sign. Okay, and then an inequality has the inequality sign, so the less than or greater than, or sometimes less than or equal to, greater than or equal to. That's what makes it an inequality. And an expression doesn't have either of those. There's no equal sign and no inequality here. So it's just a statement, like right here. No inequality, no equal sign. So this is just an expression. Right here, we've got 18 equals x plus 1. That is an equation. Whoops, let's go ahead and put a number there. That should be. So this is an inequality. Because it has that inequality symbol. It'd be wrong if there wasn't the 4 there, so you want to add that. And then here we go. There is no equal sign or no inequality, so that's also an expression. And here is another equation. All right, so name 2 differences. So let's go. Differences between equations, inequalities, and expressions. Well, one thing, expressions can be simplified but not solved. Can be simplified, not solved. Inequalities and equations can both be solved. Okay. And then let's see the difference between inequalities and equations. Equations have the equal sign, and inequalities have less than, greater than, less than or equal to, greater than or equal to. Right? So let's talk about some language, some words that mean addition. So you might hear total, you might hear sum, that's the answer to an addition problem. You might hear in all, you might hear add, you could hear plus. You guys are really good at coming up with these. So all words that mean addition. Subtraction, so then take away. Of course, you might hear minus. Put on the spot, I'm terrible at this. Minus. You might say subtract, less than, but not is less than. Okay, is less than makes it an inequality. Remember, when you use that word is, it makes it an inequality, but less than, okay, we can come up with a ton more. Multiplication, you might say doubled, you'd be multiplying by 2, tripled, quadrupled, and so on. Times, product. Remember, product is the answer to a multiplication problem. Let's see. I'm going to cheat here for a second. X product. Okay, we'll come up with more as we go. All right, division. You might split something. You might, maybe if you're sharing something, so if you're sharing something, depending on how many people you're sharing with, you could be dividing it. So quotient, this is a good one to remember. You'll hear quotient, it's the answer to a division problem. Okay, so product is multiplication. Think if you produce things, you're multiplying it, you're making more. And the quotient of something is dividing. And then let's see, let's go down halved, all of those things. When it says a number, remember in a word problem, it says, a number, you pick a variable. So maybe you choose X all the time. Maybe you choose A. Maybe you choose M. It does not matter. I avoid T because sometimes it looks like a plus sign. Just a little FYI. In math is means equal. It could also be an inequality. Okay. So it's anything like something that can be solved. Okay. It's kind of like you want to solve if it says is. Less than, you must, remember the order. You must, switch the order and subtract. Okay, so less than, we circle the two S's. Because there's no is there, we're either going to circle is or we're going to circle the SS. And since there's no is, we circle the SS and it's switch and subtract, which means we'll switch the order, which is red, and then subtract the two. Is less than, we're going to circle the is, and it's an inequality. Okay, so notice the difference between 10 less than 20. So think about what is 10, so let's think money. $10 less than $20. Well, we know that's $10, right? So we're going to, because, so there's no is, so we're going to circle this. We're going to switch these two, the order. We're going to write 20 and then 10 and subtract. Here we can circle the word is, so 10 is less than 20. Well, that's a statement. 10 is less than 20. Okay? And then in a problem, you'll get something like minus 4x or something like that. But there's the difference. Is less than is an inequality. SS, we switch the order 20 minus 10. Okay? So we're just going to practice writing some of these. A number, we're going to pick a variable. Increased by, oh, that's another one that means addition. Increased by the product, so we're multiplying. Okay, and I'm going to put a dot, not an x, because an x means a variable. So the product of 7 and a number. Okay, 7 and a number, so we're just going to go 7x, because again, another number is 13. So x increased by the product of 7x is 13. Okay, we can solve these. This would be 8x equals 13. Divide by 8, and you would have x equals 13/8. Leave that improper. Quotient. So quotient is dividing of a number and 5. Now the problem is we don't use the division sign anymore. Okay, so in pre-algebra and algebra, we are going to use, remember for quotient, when we divide, we use a fraction bar. Okay, so a number, quotient of a number and 5. Decreased is subtraction, so we're going to take away. Decreased by 3 is -2. So decreased by 3 is -2. Okay, and this is a two-step. You'd box your variable term, add 3, and multiply by 5. But I kind of want to just move on and do the word problems. Here we go. The product of 6, so product is multiplying of 6 and a number. 6, it says a number, you pick a variable. So product of 6x, you don't need the dot in between. Just kind of messes things up. I mean, it makes it look sloppier. We just put them together to multiply. Is less than, so we've got less than, but we can circle is, which makes it is less than 42. So is less than is an inequality. Okay, that is and in go together. 6x is less than 42. And we divide that 6, and x would be 7. All right, 10 less than. Here's that less than again. There is no is, so we're going to switch this 10 with another number. Okay, 10 less than what? The quotient. So we're going to write the quotient first, which means we're writing a dividing sign first. Okay, but it's the quotient of what and what? A number and 2. A number and 2. A number and 2. Okay, and remember when we switch, we also subtract. So switch and subtract. And I'm going to write that 10 first. So I just switched the order in which these two go. Okay, is 4. There we go. So you would add the 10 and multiply by 2 to solve for x. Let's move on. Less than 2. less than, again, no inequality. Sorry, no is, so we're switching and subtracting. So it's like, what are we going to switch that to with? Less than what? A number. Well, not just a number, but a number times 10. Okay, so it's not just a number, but a number times 10. And how would I write x times 10? So we're switching these two. 10x and 2. We're going to switch where we write those, and we're going to subtract. Is greater than, so we've got an is greater than, which is an inequality, 12. Alrighty. So quotient, divisions right away. I'm going to go ahead and write my fraction bar. Quotient of what? A number and -5. A number and -5. Increased by means add. Increased by 2 is, we've got that less than again, and it's is less than, so it's an inequality. Increased by 2 is less than. Oh, less than or equal to. So I'm going to add an equal to sign there. 4. 9 is less than, so we've got the is to circle there. So 9 is less than, so we don't need to switch and subtract because it's an inequality. Or equal to 3 times the difference. So it's less than 3 times what? 3 times the difference. Well, what does difference mean? Difference means, and I didn't talk about that, difference is the answer to a subtraction problem. So let's write difference here. You know that from different signs differ. So it's not 3 times a number, and it's not 3 times 7, but it's 3 times the answer to a subtraction problem, which means I need to subtract these first. A number and 7. The difference of a number and 7, so the difference between these two. So that's going to look like this. Okay, and that's a little confusing because I don't know why it is. It just really is. Right. 4 is greater than, so 4 is greater than is an inequality, so 4 is greater than 4 more than. So think about if you have 4 more than someone else, you're going to add 4. You can write 4. I'm going to go ahead and do that. 4 more than the quotient. So it's more than a division problem. The quotient of 6 and a number. 6 and a number. The quotient, so this is our last one here. Division, the quotient of what? A number, 10 and a number, increased by 2 is 4. Increased by 2 is 4. And there we have it, verbal phrases.